Your grandfather's 1985 pickup might outlast your neighbor's brand new crossover. Sounds crazy? Here's proof. Mercedes-Benz M617 diesels hitting 900,000 miles. Toyota 22Rs still running strong past 600,000. Modern engines promise efficiency, but longevity? That's a different game. See, there was a golden era when manufacturers built engines to survive everything, not just a lease. Today, we're counting down the 12 most bulletproof engines ever bolted into a chassis. These aren't just good engines, they're legends that refuse to die. From million-mile diesels to indestructible Japanese straight sixes, let's go. Number 12, Honda D-Series, 1984 to 2005. Let's kick things off with an engine that turned an entire generation of teenagers into gearheads, the Honda D-Series. Found in everything from Civics to CRXs to Del Sols, this compact four-cylinder became the backbone of Honda's reliability reputation through the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. The D-Series, particularly the D15 and D16 variants, might not win horsepower contests. We're talking 102 to 127 horsepower depending on the version, but winning isn't about peak power. It's about still running when everyone else has quit. These SOHC and DOHC 1.5 and 1.6-liter engines are known for effortlessly hitting 300,000 plus miles with nothing more than regular oil changes and the occasional timing belt replacement. What makes the D-Series special? Honda's obsessive engineering standards and simplicity. No unnecessary complexity. No delicate twin-turbo setups. Just a perfectly balanced four-cylinder with VTEC in the sportier variants, delivering zippy performance and fuel economy that still embarrasses modern crossovers. Owners report these engines running strong past 400,000 miles, often outlasting the body panels rusting around them. And here's the thing, parts are everywhere and dirt cheap. You can rebuild a D-Series engine in your driveway with YouTube tutorials and basic hand tools. Try that with your German turbocharged masterpiece. But if you think Honda stopped at four-cylinder dominance, wait till you see what Lexus did with six. Number 11, Lexus One MZF EV6, 1994 to 2007. While everyone obsesses over Toyota's legendary inline engines, the One MZF EV6 quietly became one of the most bulletproof power plants ever fitted to a luxury vehicle. Found in the Lexus ES 300, RX 300, and Toyota Camry V6 models, this 3.0-liter aluminum block V6 is the automotive equivalent of that one friend who never complains and always shows up. Producing 190 to 210 horsepower depending on the year and application, the One MZFE won't blow your doors off, but reliability? It'll blow your mind. Owners routinely report 400,000 to 500,000 miles with minimal drama beyond regular maintenance. No head gasket failures, no oil consumption issues, no catastrophic timing belt disasters. Though yes, you do need to change that belt every 90,000 miles, but that's hardly asking too much from an engine that might outlive your grandchildren. Toyota engineered this V6 with smoothness and longevity as the primary objectives. It features an interference engine design, but when maintained properly, the One MZ simply doesn't fail. The dual overhead cam setup and variable valve timing on later versions provide decent power delivery while sipping fuel conservatively. Mechanics love seeing these roll into their shops, not because they break, but because they don't. Just here for an oil change becomes the standard greeting. Real-world examples of One MZ-powered Camrys and ES 300S with over 500,000 miles aren't rare. They're common, and surprisingly, this isn't even the toughest Toyota V6 you'll encounter today. Number 10, Toyota 3.4-liter 5VZFE, 1995 to 2004. If the One MZFE is the quiet achiever, the 5VZFE 3.4-liter V6 is the workhorse that just won't quit, even when you're hauling a boat up a mountain in 110-degree heat. Found in the Tacoma, 4Runner, Tundra, and T100, this cast-iron block V6 powered Toyota's truck lineup through the late 90s and early 2000s with 183 to 190 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. Now, those numbers don't scream performance, but they absolutely scream, I'm still running in 2045. The 5VZFE is famous, legendary really, for its near indestructibility. Timing belt? Yes, it has has one, and yes, you should change it. But beyond that, this engine runs forever. We're talking 300,000 to 400,000 plus miles as the baseline expectation, not the exception. What makes the 5VZ bulletproof? Toyota over-engineered everything. The cast iron block handles heat and stress like it's nothing. The internals are built to commercial grade standards. And the simplicity, no variable valve timing, no direct injection complexity, means fewer failure points. Just a straightforward V6 that starts every morning and keeps running through abuse most engines wouldn't survive a weekend with. Head gasket issues? Virtually non-existent. Lower ball joint failures? Sure, but that's suspension, not the engine's fault. The 5VZFE just keeps chugging along, mile after mile, decade after decade. Before we continue, smash that like button if these engines are blowing your mind. And if you need reliable maintenance products, oil filters, or tools for your own bulletproof build, check the description. I've linked everything I actually trust. All right, let's keep going. Number 9. BMW M50 and M52 Inline-Six, 1990 to 2000. Yes, a BMW engine on a reliability list. Shocking, right? But hear me out. The M50 and M52 Inline-Six engines are proof that when BMW focused on engineering instead of complexity, they could build an engine as reliable as any Japanese competitor. Found in the E3636 series and E3955 series, these 2.0 to 2.8-liter straight sixes produced 148 to 158 horsepower and earned a reputation that stands in stark contrast to modern BMW reliability nightmares. The M50, 1990 to 1996, and its successor, the M52, 1994 to 2000, share DNA with BMW's motorsport heritage. Silky smooth inline-six design, dual overhead cams, and the kind of balance that makes you wonder why anyone bothers with V6. What really sets them apart? Simplicity. No Vanos issues plaguing you, well, minimal on the M50, and manageable on the early M52. No complicated electronic strangling functionality, just a beautifully engineered iron block, M50, or aluminum block, M52, power plant. Real-world examples of M50 and M52 engines exceeding 300,000 miles are everywhere. Regular oil changes, cooling system maintenance, and the occasional Vanos seal replacement on M52s are really all they ask. Compare that to modern BMW turbocharged disasters requiring new turbos at 60,000 miles. The M50 M52 also delivered something rare, driving joy and longevity. That inline-six smoothness, responsive throttle, and eager mid-range power made every drive engaging. And if you think a Bavarian straight six is impressive, wait until you meet its Swedish cousin at number 8. Number 8, Volvo B230 Redblock, 1974 to 1995. The Volvo B230, affectionately known as the Redblock because of its distinctively painted block, is the four-cylinder engine that refused to die, even when Volvo owners tried to kill it through neglect. Found in the 240, 740, 940 series, and even some 850s, this 2.3-liter inline-four produced a modest 114 to 153 horsepower, but horsepower was never the point. Survival was. Ask any Volvo mechanic about the Redblock and you'll hear the same stories. 500,000 miles, 600,000 miles, sometimes over 700,000 miles on the original engine. This wasn't a fluke. Volvo engineered the B230 with massive tolerances, overbuilt internals, and a cast iron block that could withstand nuclear winter. Turbo variants, B230FT, added forced induction without sacrificing the core reliability DNA. The secret? Simplicity meets Scandinavian over-engineering. The B230 uses basic mechanical fuel injection or a carburetor in early versions, minimal electronics, and a timing belt you could change in a Walmart parking lot. No variable valve timing, no direct injection, no fragile plastic components melting in the engine bay. Just a straightforward four-cylinder that starts in -30 degrees Fahrenheit Swedish winters and keeps running through decades of abuse. Real-world Redblock stories are legendary. Original engines running in taxi fleets past 1 million kilometers, owners forgetting to change oil for 20,000 miles, and the engine just continuing. But if Swedish durability impresses you, wait till you see what American farmers relied on for half a century. Number 7. Ford 300 Inline-Six, 1965 to 1996. The Ford 300 cubic-inch Inline-Six is the engine that powered America's work trucks for over 3 decades, and for good reason. It simply doesn't quit. Found in F-Series pickups, Broncos, and E-Series vans, this 4.9-liter straight-six produced 150 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, and those torque numbers are what made it a legend. Farmers, construction workers, and fleet managers loved the 300 Inline-Six because it delivered low-end grunt exactly where you need it for towing and hauling. But more importantly, it lasted forever. We're talking 300,000 to 500,000 plus miles as standard operating procedure. The cast iron block and 7 main bearings, most Inline-Sixes use 4, created an engine that could handle continuous heavy load abuse without complaint. What makes the 300 truly special is its agricultural equipment durability ethos. Ford designed it for commercial use, dump trucks, ambulances, delivery vans. If it could survive constant idling, heavy loads, and minimal maintenance in fleet service, your weekend truck runs were nothing. The engine's long stroke design meant massive low-end torque but modest horsepower, perfect for real work. Mechanics report these engines running strong at 400,000 plus miles with nothing more than basic maintenance. No complex electronics to fail, no delicate components, just cast iron, push rods, and determination. And if Ford's Inline-Six is legendary, wait till you see what Chevrolet did with 8 cylinders. Number 6. Chevrolet Small Block 350 V8, 1967 to 2003. Is there a more iconic American engine than the Chevy Small Block 350? This 5.7-liter V8 powered everything from Corvettes to Camaros to pickup trucks to boats, yes, boats, for nearly 4 decades, producing anywhere from 145 to 300 plus horsepower, depending on the era and application. But power figures don't tell the real story. Longevity and versatility do. The Small Block 350 earned its reputation through sheer ubiquity and bulletproof simplicity. Chevrolet sold over 100 million small block V8s across all displacements, with the 350 being the most popular. Why? Because it's tough, parts are everywhere, and any mechanic from Alaska to Alabama can rebuild one blindfolded. Cast iron block, pushrod V8 design, and internals built to withstand drag racing one weekend and hauling lumber the next. Real-world reliability numbers are staggering. 300,000 to 400,000 plus miles are common with basic maintenance. Truck versions, especially in C10s and Suburbans, regularly exceed 500,000 miles. The beauty of the small block is its forgiving nature. Even with neglected maintenance, they keep running. Not efficiently, but running. The aftermarket support is unmatched. Need a water pump at midnight? Any auto parts store has 3 in stock. Want to rebuild it? Performance parts are cheaper than replacing your smartphone. The Small Block 350 democratized V8 reliability. And while American V8s deserve respect, wait until you see what Honda did with 4 cylinders and VTEC. Number 5. Honda B-Series, 1988 to 2001. The Honda B-Series engine is what happens when engineering perfection meets real-world durability. Found in the Integra, Civic Si, CR-V, and various JDM legends, these 1.6 to 1.8-liter inline-4s, B16, B18, B20 variants, produced 126 to 195 horsepower and created an entire tuner culture that still thrives today. But forget the modified monsters. Stock B-Series engines are reliability champions. What makes the B-Series legendary? Honda's VTEC technology combined with overbuilt internals that could handle abuse both factory and modified. The B16 screamed to 8,000 plus RPM all day without complaint. The B18C delivered torque and horsepower in perfect harmony. The B20 provided low-end grunt for CR-Vs. All of them shared Honda's obsessive attention to quality control and engineering standards that treated every component as critical. Real-world B-Series engines regularly hit 300,000 to 400,000 miles with nothing more than oil changes and timing belt replacements. Enthusiasts boost them, race them, thrash them, and they keep running. Non-enthusiasts ignore maintenance schedules, and they still keep running. That's the Honda magic. The B-Series also introduced a generation to the joy of high-revving, naturally aspirated power before turbochargers became mandatory. That VTEC crossover horsepower at 5,800 RPM became the soundtrack of 90s automotive enthusiasm. But if Honda perfected four-cylinder reliability, Mercedes-Benz took diesel longevity to mythical levels at number 4. Number 4, Mercedes-Benz OM617, diesel, 1974 to 1991. The Mercedes-Benz OM617 is the engine that proved diesel longevity isn't just possible, it's practically inevitable with proper engineering. This 3.0-liter five-cylinder turbo diesel produced a modest 120 to 125 horsepower, but delivered something far more valuable: 1 million miles of potential service life. Found in the W123 and W126 chassis, 300D, 300TD, 300SD models, the OM617 is automotive immortality in cast iron form. Stories of OM617 engines exceeding 500,000 miles aren't remarkable, they're expected. Mercedes over-engineered every component: forged steel crankshaft, cast iron block thick enough to double as a boat anchor, and internals built to survive continuous high-load operation. These engines powered taxis across Europe and Africa, accumulating millions of kilometers in the harshest conditions imaginable. The OM617's secret is simplicity meets German perfectionism. Mechanical fuel injection, no delicate electronics, bulletproof turbocharger on turbo models, and maintenance intervals that actually mean something. Change the oil, replace filters, and this engine will outlive your mortgage. Overheating? Virtually impossible with proper coolant maintenance. Catastrophic failure? Only if you literally never change the oil. Real-world examples of OM600s and 17s reaching 700,000 to 900,000 miles exist with documentation. Some claim over 1 million miles, and given the engine's reputation, those claims are believable. But if diesel longevity amazes you, Toyota perfected gasoline four-cylinder immortality at number 3. Number 3, Toyota 22R, 22RE, 1981 to 1995. The Toyota 22R and 22RE might be the most indestructible four-cylinder engines ever mass-produced. Found in Tacomas, 4Runners, Celicas, and pickups, this 2.4-liter inline-four produced 97 to 135 horsepower depending on the variant and year, with the E denoting electronic fuel injection. But horsepower is irrelevant when discussing an engine that treats 300,000 miles as barely broken in. Ask anyone who owned a Toyota truck with a 22R, 22RE, and you'll hear the same reverence usually reserved for religious experiences. These engines don't die, they don't leak, they don't overheat. They just run. Stories of original 22R engines still operating in 2025 with over 500,000 miles are commonplace, and tales of 600,000 plus miles on original internals aren't even considered exceptional. What's the secret? Toyota built the 22R with commercial-grade durability standards. Cast iron block, timing chain, not a belt, one less thing to worry about, and internals balanced for longevity over performance. The engine runs forever with basic maintenance, oil changes, coolant flushes, and the occasional valve adjustment. That's it. The 22R also handles neglect better than any engine has a right to. Forget an oil change? It'll let you know, but keep running. Overheat it once? Probably fine. The 22R's forgiveness is legendary. But if the 22R is Toyota's four-cylinder masterpiece, wait till you see what they did with 8 cylinders. Number 2, Toyota 1 UZF EV8, 1989 to 2004. The Toyota 1 UZF-E is what happens when Toyota decides to build a V8 luxury engine with the same reliability standards as their pickup truck motors. Found in the Lexus LS400, SC400, and various other luxury Lexus models, this 4.0-liter aluminum block V8 produced 250 to 290 horsepower and created a new standard for what reliable luxury actually means. This engine is overbuilt, forged connecting rods, aluminum block with cast iron sleeves, dual overhead cams, variable valve timing on later versions, and tolerances so tight that the engine runs whisper quiet even at 200,000 miles. Real-world examples of 1UZ engines reaching 400,000 to 500,000 miles are everywhere, and they're not limping to those numbers. They're running as smoothly as the day they left the factory. What makes the 1UZ legendary isn't just longevity, it's effortless longevity. No major known failure points. No timing belt nightmares. It uses a timing belt, but replacement is straightforward. No head gasket drama, no oil consumption issues, just regular maintenance, and this V8 will outlive the car it's bolted into. Mechanics joke that the 1UZ's biggest weakness is that it makes them no money. Owners just need oil changes. The engine is so reliable that high-mileage LS400s sell for more than comparable luxury cars because buyers know the drivetrain is bulletproof. But there's one engine that stands above even the 1UZ in legendary status. One engine that enthusiasts, mechanics, and engineers all agree represents peak internal combustion reliability. Number 1. Toyota 2 JZGTE Inline-Six, 1991 to 2002. If there's one engine that deserves the crown of most reliable of all time, it's the Toyota 2 JZGTE. Found in the legendary Supra Turbo MK4, Aristo, and select other JDM models. This 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged inline-six produced 280 horsepower Japan's Gentleman's Agreement or 320 horsepower in US spec models, but those numbers are almost insulting, because the 2 JZGTE is famous for making 1,000 plus horsepower with internal modifications, and 500 to 700 horsepower on the stock internals without breaking a sweat. That's not a typo. The stock bottom end, the cast iron block, forged crank, and massively overbuilt internals can handle double the factory horsepower reliably. Toyota engineered the 2JZ for Formula One durability standards and then detuned it for street use. The result? An engine that's virtually indestructible. Real-world 2JZ engines regularly exceed 300,000 miles stock, and modified examples making big power hit 200,000 plus miles without internal rebuilds. Head gasket upgrades and larger turbos are common modifications, but the block itself is untouchable. Enthusiasts call it the million-mile motor, with genuine affection and respect. What makes the 2 JZGTE perfect? Sequential twin-turbo setup for smooth power delivery, iron block for strength, conservative factory tuning leaving massive headroom, and Toyota's legendary quality control, ensuring every component meets impossible standards. The 2JZ doesn't have major failure points because Toyota eliminated them during development. 30 years later, the 2JZ remains the gold standard for reliability, tunability, and engineering excellence. It's proof that when manufacturers build engines to last instead of to lease, something truly special emerges. 12 engines, millions of miles. One undeniable truth: they don't make them like this anymore. These legends prove that when manufacturers prioritized engineering pride over quarterly profits, something magical happened. Engines that refused to die. Power plants that became family heirlooms. Now here's what you need to do. Smash that like button if you respect these bulletproof legends. And listen, if you found even one engine on this list that blew your mind, share this video with every car person you know. Trust me, they'll thank you. But we're not done exposing automotive greatness. Click that video popping up right now. 12 luxury sedans that will outlive their modern equivalents, because some of these immortal engines powered vehicles that are still dominating roads decades later. You won't believe number 3. This is SUV Detective reminding you to appreciate the classics. They earned every mile. See you in the next one.